Well, now that it is finally October, we've been talking more about everything that is scary. But you know it can be real scary inside your home when your house starts making creepy sounds or smelling funny. Joining us now to make sure your house is in tip-top shape, Mark Dawson. He's the President and Chief Executive Officer of Authority Brands Trade Brands. Mark, I love this conversation. As a matter of fact, my ice maker in my house makes an extremely loud noise every night.
Yeah, so it's there's a lot of creepy noises that go on in the house, and so it's not hocus pocus. It's not the Sanderson sisters putting a spell on you. It's just part of normal day-to-day activity in the home. And I'd like to talk about three areas, right? The electrical. I'd like to talk about plumbing, and I'd like to talk about the HVAC side. So let's talk electrical first. A lot of times you sit at the house and the lights just flicker, and you're like, well, why did that happen? And so what happens normally when you have large appliances that turn on, we have what we call a power surge. That's a normal occurrence in the home, nothing to worry about. Now, if you're having those lights and they flicker when those things aren't running, well, that's a different issue. So first of all, go check the light bulbs, just make sure they're in there tight. That's sometimes why they flicker. However, if they're in there tight, they still flicker. You want to call a professional to come out and take a look at your electrical system to make sure you're in good working order. When it comes to the plumbing side, well, not only is there creepy sounds, but there's weird smells, if you will. And so one thing is you look at the drains, right? So when your drains are draining, and they drain slow, right? Or there's a smell, a gassy smell coming out, then you may have a clogged drain or a partially clogged drain. You're going to have that cleared. There's an air vent that actually goes to the roof of the house. You can have that cleared by a professional. Whatever you do, do not get on the roof. That is a no-no. And then you also sometimes when you're at the kitchen sink or maybe in the bathtub and you turn that water off, you hear that little hammering noise like da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's okay. It just means it's too much pressure coming in the house. So you're going to have a pressure regulator installed to adjust that pressure and get rid of the hammer. And then the last item is the HVAC side. And so from that standpoint is, look, you may get some smells every once in a while. It's getting cold. People are turning on the furnace and turning on the heat. When you do that, you may get a rotten egg smell. That's not a rotten egg. That's natural gas. And that's not normal. So let's call a professional and let's make sure that they look at that and protect you and your family. So those are a few things that happen around the house.
Mark, I love this conversation, and I will say of the four things you just mentioned, I have experienced all four. I currently have at least 5 drains in my house that are backing up, that are, I will humbly say, emitting a smell that is not pleasant. So, I'll try to kind of take the stopper out and clean it out myself, but it doesn't seem to be doing the job. Maybe a time to call in the pros. The other thing with our HVAC systems here in Las Vegas is, you can imagine, we live by our air conditioners all summer. Now, we very quickly are going to need our heaters in about another month now, but it hasn't quite hit us yet. When we do, we want to make sure, I'm sure, that those units are up and operating so they're ready for us.
Yes, I mean, so preventive maintenance is very important for all phases, right? Electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. So you want to have your electrical and plumbing checked out once a year, right? Check that electrical panel, make sure the breakers are all working in good order. There's no like heat zones there. You're going to want to make sure from a plumbing standpoint you drain that water heater. And then on the HVAC side, you're going to have that checked twice, right? Once before summer, because we want that cool air. Once before winter. They'll come out, they'll clean it, make sure good airflow through there. That's going to be important, especially in Vegas.
I tell you what, Mark, I'd like to ask you for your cell phone because you seem to have so much knowledge, but in lieu of that, I think we can give people a website and a little more information on Authority Brands, Trade Brands. Where can people go?
I appreciate that. They can go to onehourheatandair.com. For the plumbing, they go to benjaminfranklinplumbing.com. And for electric, they go to mrsparky.com.
Wow, a lot of great information there, Mark. Thank you so much for joining us from Phoenix this morning to keep your house safe and smell-free, guys, because those smells, they can be spooky. You can visit any of the websites that are up on your screen And you know what? Call in the pros. Get a little help.